Welcome to the Breakfast Club. Today is the last day of May, May 31, and Jean Martin from Medford is here. Hello, Jean.
Hi.
Welcome.
Good to be here.
Is this your debut on TV?
Yes, it is.
I thought I saw you on The View.
Yeah, I was one of their best guests.
Do you watch The View?
I do. I love The View. And I would love to have a program like The View one day.
I love Whoopi.
Yeah, I love them all, actually.
I'm waiting for the sequel to Ghost. We'll do a little movies first. We're going to talk politics tonight a little. We're going to talk about Judge Jackson-Thompson's hearing results and findings and recommendations. This is Visual Radio, one of the most established TV shows in the Northeast, anyway, in Manhattan and New England. And we're going to discuss Medford Community Cablevision. And this will be a rebuttal tape to nonsense that they air over there. Nonsense. You don't see the president of stations go on off, and or the station managers, and just go on and they just roll the tape, and no regard for the community and maybe a hockey game or a football game. Mm-hmm. And we have tapes, you know. And I know people that are out taping some of these. You know, in 2012, every parent has not only a camera. You could piece together a nice show just from the camera. You could do a show in Medford with all the camera phones of the parents with their own kids on the ball field, and have them come in, and you could pastiche an entire show. Someone called. Okay.
But there's no reason why someone can't videotape a game and then play it on Channel 3.
There's a lot of people with cameras, and Tony Bova was religious about it in the city of Medford.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of handheld cameras. They don't need a telephone camera. Now,
I don't know why. I hear Tony was very uncomfortable around TV3 and no longer does the hockey there. I hear. There's a guy doing hockey. You know, we got Al Jazeera on over there, Al Jazeera. But back to movies for a second. I saw Men in Black 3.
Oh, did you?
Oh, I don't know if I told you this on the phone.
I love the first one. This
one's a lot better.
Oh, really?
There's a human interest story. The worst thing about this film, and it's stunning, I put it in my review. You can go to tmrzoo.com and see my review. And it's stunning that the movie's so good, and the makeup for Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith is horrendous.
Bad.
Now, it's got to be intentional.
Oh, okay.
We're talking about a $150 million movie.
Yeah.
What? Tommy Lee's getting up there, as is Ed Harris. Ed Harris and Tommy Lee look a lot older than they did 3, 4, 5 years ago. They have aged dramatically. Tommy just, all due respect, Tommy, I love you as an actor. He looks like a drinker. He just looks like a drinker. Maybe he just plays the part really well. He does. He played an alcoholic in that third, I call it the Double Jeopardy is like the third installment of The Fugitive. Did you see that?
I watched The Fugitive, the first one.
Then there's the U.S. Marshals.
Yes, I saw that one as well.
And then he did a movie called Double Jeopardy where Ashley Judd is convicted of killing her husband and she didn't kill him.
Oh, the Double Jeopardy. Yes, I saw that one.
Doesn't that look
awesome.
like Fugitive 3 with a woman?
It could be.
It's Tommy Lee.
It could be. Yeah.
It's set up just like that, and they should do a box set because it's perfect.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee box set with, you know, Double Jeopardy, U.S. Marshals, and The Fugitive with expanded cuts because I love Double Jeopardy. Yes,
that is a very good movie.
Okay.
And so is The Fugitive. The U.S. Marshals was okay.
But I got to tell you, the strangest thing happened to me on the way home at 2:45 in the morning from Men in Black 3. I was attacked by about 100 cars on the highway. This is stunning, people. Because when you hear this story, it's going to blow your mind, and I urge everyone to do what I did. I called the police, and I went to the state police. This is the most amazing story you're going to hear. I leave the movie theater, and I'm on the highway, and it's 2:45 in the morning, and it's beautiful out. So, you know, there's like 5 or 6 cars. Well, on Montvale Ave, Woburn, on to 93, there's a stream of cars at 2:45 in the morning. I'm saying, what's a wedding get out? Late, you know, a wedding?
Yeah.
And the cars, like a swarm of bees, they just come. And we're all on the highway. Now think about it. There's me and 5 or 6 other cars that are normal cars. And this swarm of cars, and at Spot Pond, Stoneham, they stop.
Really?
Now, I just saw Men in Black 3. It's like an alien movie. And I feel like, is the movie continuing? Am I in it? This is going to blow you away when I tell you what it is. Okay? So now I think, okay, there's an accident and all these cars
Was
stop.
there something astrologically going on?
No, far worse. Okay? Because this looked very organized to me. The writer in me, like, you know, police are trained in observation, and writers are trained in observation. So I'm thinking, first thing I think is wedding. Late wedding gets out. Normal, right? You know, maybe 2:45, okay. There's a Holiday Inn down there, maybe there's a late wedding. No, that wasn't it. Now, accident. All these cars are on the highway and there must be an accident, because they all stopped. No accident. Okay. Suddenly, a car starts revving its engine next to me, and he's in the breakdown lane.
Uh-oh.
It's a Memorial Day drag race at 2:45 in the morning.
You're kidding.
Finally organized. Had to be on Twitter or Facebook. And to keep the police at bay, they probably had all these code names like cookie baking at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
you know, something weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I know what I'm in, and it's a mess. And I call the police in Medford, and they said, call the state police. I said, sir, I'm scared, and I'm driving, and I got the cell phone in my hand. Could you do it? He goes, I'll call them. They get off Forest Street.
Really?
They go from Woburn, stop at Spot Pond, and then they go down Forest Street in Medford. Okay, this is weird. Call the police again. He said, you know, I called it in. I said, thank you. I said, I think they might be coming back on 93. They didn't. So I got off at the square.
Okay.
Went up Forest.
Yeah.
They were gone.
Okay.
So now I said, okay, state police are right in a Stop and Shop. I'm going to go there. Go to the state police. A guy comes out, and there's only one officer on duty. And I said, sir, I was just in this swarm of cars. He goes, we just got a call on that. I said, it was probably my call. He goes, it's been going on for a while. I said, what? He goes, we can't catch them. I said, how long is a while? I'm glad you're sitting.
I am too.
2 years.
2 years?
These nutcases are out there for the past 2 years with these organized drag races on the highway.
And now, is this on 28 or on 93?
93.
93.
They came off of Montvale. They're on 93. I said to the officer, I said, they are organized. They know exactly where they're going, and they're evading you people. Because it came off of Montvale, it stopped. Anyone could have been really hurt, any one of me or the other 4 or 5, 6 cars that were just passers-by, just doing our normal thing, going to the movies at 12:30 at night. Because I missed Men in Black at the screening. I go to screenings in Boston. I like the screenings. I missed it. I said, I want to review this thing. So I went off at midnight. And, you know, said to the roommate, I'm going up to the movies. Okay, fine, go to the movies. Always, you want to come? No, not at that hour, you know.
Not at that
no
hour.
problem. So
Well,
I always politely ask, you want to go to the movies with me? I don't think we've been to maybe one movie. We've been living together 16 years. I think we've been to one movie. We used to go to movies all the time before we lived together.
Yeah.
But we do all sorts of other things. But
Well, that's good.
It's interesting, the
You
movies.
get complacent, you know.
He goes to his movies, I go to mine. You know, that's how we get along, you know.
Oh, that's funny.
We talk, we go to dinner and compare our movie notes. That, you know, that's what friends do. They stay, you know.
Connected, yep.
Yeah, but we don't get in each other's way because, you know, I love the Men in Black and that kind of stuff anyway. So that's my story about, so people, if you get caught in this craziness of a drag race, I mean, Memorial Day, the police may have wanted to have 4 or 5 cruisers up there, the stateies, because it's, now today I saw an unmarked car pull someone over on 93. And I'm just like, you know, if they know this stuff is happening, I guess they don't know when it is, but it erupts.
Well, that's probably what it is. It's Twitter, and it's...
Yeah,
you know,
bake sale.
Yeah.
3 a.m., Montvale Ave.
Yeah, and if they don't do it every Friday night, you know, they must have different days that they do it so that they don't get caught.
I said to a friend that I saw the next night, because I performed on Saturday night. So I put my Dracula cape on. I'm walking through Central Square in my Dracula cape. I just felt cool. You know, it's hot out. It was as hot as it is today, and it was like, okay, let's be Drac. And some of the people are nonchalant, but others are like looking, you know. But my friend lives up near 495, and I said to him, you know, 495 kind of lends itself to drag racing a little. Shouldn't do it anywhere, but it's bigger. It's more straight.
Right. It's more rural.
Maybe the exits are further apart and these guys need a quick getaway. Quick get it. But
that's right.
if you're a stream of cars on South Border Road, you're in a bottleneck.
Yes, you are.
And I called it in. How many people call it in? You know?
Well, people probably call it in, but it's too late because they probably are very, very connected to the Twitter feeds and, you know.
I don't think people really got it like I got it because the guy next to me was revving his engine. I figured out, I think other people might think it was just a big pile of traffic.
But at 3 in the morning, I would be calling the police at 3 in the morning.
It was,
you know.
Look, do I frighten easy?
No.
That was chilling. Chilling because you never knew what whack job in these 50 to 100 cars is drinking or doing. It's just too, it was way too, the level of danger was up there, way over the. So that was.
But
that
Twitter
was,
can be a good thing. I mean, it started the Arab Spring, and you know, it started bring people together en masse for protests.
I've got to Twitter more. We have a visual_radio1 Twitter. You know, I put the YouTubes up there.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So, are you nervous?
No, not really.
Enjoying yourself?
Yes, I am. Thank you.
This is a great little venue, and Anthony did a fine job. Thank you, Anthony, setting up this very nicely. We will talk to Johnny Byers in a few minutes. So, February 12th, I was at City Hall for I missed Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
She did the zip, 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 which I don't think is a good idea for her. Elizabeth, if you're listening, spend 30 minutes. She came in, zipped, then to Somerville or wherever she went. She did the tour, six cities on February 12th. So State Rep Paul Donato, a man I've known 40 years, says he's my friend and he cares about me, comes up to me and says, Joe, when am I going to be on your show? And I said, Paul, the door's always open here. You know that. I want to be on your show. Set it up with Susan Crowley. Now, I knew the name Susan Crowley from TV3 Medford. Because in the Mark Rumley report, that's the only experience I have with Susan Crowley's name. She's in the Mark Rumley report. Because what happened, Gene, was I went to a library and I printed out the Secretary of State filings of Medford Community Cablevision. And I said, now, Brian Mahoney, my friend, I don't think he's a board member. So I found it very odd that 2005, the president of TV3, Frank Polari, put down Brian Mahoney. So I brought it to Solicitor No. I printed it out, and then I went to the Woburn Post Office where Mr. Mahoney used to work. And that's how I knew Brian, and I knew him from TV3 Medford. And he used to come up to Stoneham when I had Little Joe Cook and Maltin on. I said, Brian, you're on the board of TV3 Medford? I moved to Somerville years ago, Joe. I haven't been on that board in years. Here you go, copy for you. I made a couple of copies. He was not happy. Find his name on a board of directors, so he's responsible as a director for a TV station that he doesn't even live in that city. And he had left 3, 4, 5 years ago, and he's a member of the board of directors. So I went to Mark Rumley, who, Winchester residence, is the city solicitor of Medford. And I go, hey, Mark. And he goes, hi, Joe. And he offers me to come in. And I said, I find this very odd. So Mark said he had a whole stack of my writings. Everyone does. Chris Donovan calls me prolific. And he means it sincerely. So I said, Mark, you know what? And Mark said he was going to put a whole section in his Rumley report, which I don't see, but that's okay. That's Johnny Byers. Let me tell my story, Johnny, and I'll call you back. Thanks. I knew that. That's our guest, Johnny Byers. He's going to be calling in. So I go to Solicitor Rumley, and in his Rumley report, I don't think he even mentioned Brian Mahoney, but he mentioned Tim Polari, Gary Zappelli, who hadn't been at meetings, and Susan Crowley, who had no longer been on the board. And he called up Paul Garrity, who at one point was the vice president of TV3, and he wasn't on the board. So there were legitimately 3 names of people who had left the board and 2 people who weren't at any board meetings. It's 5. Now, they're supposed to have 13 board members. They have 7 currently. And we only know that, people, because I put a public records request in. You get a publicly funded station. And our good friend Nick Iovino. So Gene and I met at City Council.
That's right. We did in March.
I want to do a City Council newsletter because it's so great that you're there. Because a couple of things, I'm going to digress and we'll go back to the TV3 issue. 2 things happened in the past couple of weeks that were really phenomenal. Mike DiClemente, a former council candidate, went up and held the feet of the council to the fire, demanding that we vet board members and cable commission, not just cable, all the commissioners and the board members of Medford, be it the liquor, licensing, dog control, whatever.
Housing.
And now they're doing it.
Yep.
In fact, Tuesday night, they didn't rubber stamp those people they talked about in Committee of the Whole, right? They're going to have them come before the whole city?
Right.
I was nervous when I saw them at the Committee of the Whole because I didn't see them there, but I saw their names, and I'm thinking, I hope they, I really hope that they come before us as a city so we can meet these individuals. Because, you know, Gene, when you meet them, then you can email a Rick Caraviello, and he knows you. He sees me in a restaurant, comes up, talks for a while. You get that human connection with your elected official.
That's correct. Yep.
And so the councilors all certainly know Gene and I.
Well, it's the job of the council to interview these people because they sign off on them.
But in front of us, transparency.
Yes,
in front of the citizens who. Second thing happened. You know what? I did a thing at the council, a motion or some petition on potholes and Final Cut Pro. So Brianna Lungo this week, Brianna Lungo Cohn, is it Cohn, Kern?
Kern, I say Kern.
Brianna Lungo Kern brings up potholes. And a woman, one of her constituents called her, and I got up and I said, my street, and Central, and Locust. You live near Locust.
I certainly do.
You need a surfboard and roller skates. I went on it today, and I'm like, okay, this is definitely, trucks are on it every day. Just minor infrastructure in Medford has just fallen apart. Minor infrastructure. That's not building a bridge. That's fixing a major road.
Locust Street is a main road.
Because, as I think Councilor Marks said it, Medford is a community that's a bridge from Winchester to Revere.
It's a throughway, yes. We have Route 16, we have Route 28, we have Route 93, we have 16, 28, yeah, those 4.
Winchester is insulated and very fortunate because you got 38. But Winchester is insulated compared to Medford, which has the highways and the traffic, and I mean, I live on Salem, so right off of Salem.
Which is Route 60, by the way, which is one more major highway.
Fire engines all night long is amazing.
Oh, well, I live off of Riverside Avenue.
So do you hear them too, like 3 in the morning?
Absolutely, all the time.
I mean, it's like silence, just silence, you know?
I wouldn't know what to do with silence. I'm so used to it.
Well, the point is that we were a couple of people just howling at the moon, and now people like Gene and DiClemente and D'Antonio and Georgie Sacco 1 and Georgie Sacco 2. And we've, of course, got Jarrett Banks. There's a new kid now from the Medford Mercury. He seems very nice. And Nick Iovino. But there were 2 women in the room Tuesday night.
Were there?
You and Brianna.
Oh, yes, I know. I'm fully aware of that. Yes.
Well, people probably see me writing up at the city council. I'm up at the window. I like the window. I take a head count. So I've got logs of the head counts of the people attending. I don't know why. I just like to have head counts.
Right.
But, you know, I'm saying 2 women.
It's a very male-dominated environment.
11, 13 men on Tuesday night, and that's a very small turnout, and we're not going to have many council meetings after June.
No, there's only 2, one in July and one in August.
And a couple in September, maybe?
Well, then they start the regular session again.
Okay. In Winchester here, where I sometimes get preempted on Thursday nights, the town meetings, I believe, are now closed till November.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we preempted a couple of weeks ago, and I had Dodd Daniels' friend here, Skip Williamson. We had to do a special show, and Gary DiCarlo did a special show, but we survived it. It worked, and when you do a show a week, you got plenty of programming.
Yeah, I would imagine. Now, what's the population of Winchester, though?
Not anywhere near the 55, 56,000 of Medford.
Right.
I'd say, I guess, 18,000. Anyone
okay.
want to enlighten us?
Yeah.
So Johnny Byers wants to talk, and I will get into Judge Jackson's report,
Okay.
which we can discuss. But let's talk to our sports guy.
Yeah.
Hello?
John Byers,
How are you, my friend?
can you see Gene on the show?
No, unfortunately, your internet feed is down again this week.
Oh. 2 weeks in a row. Oh, well. Our internet feed is down, people. Sorry.
But they can see us on TV?
Yeah, if you've got the contiguous channels on Verizon.
Yeah, except in Medford.
Well, you don't have Comcast, so you don't know yet.
Yeah,
But
well,
Gene has
I'm gonna,
Comcast.
hopefully when
I
I
have
move into my
Verizon.
new place
Verizon.
very soon, I'll be getting it. But I know I'll be getting Verizon. I just don't know whether I'll be getting WinCam on my system.
Johnny, I'm proud of you for going to Medford Housing and saying your piece. People were not happy that you did, but I'm glad you did because you got results.
Well, yeah, I mean, it had to be done because they did not tell us the reason why, and I don't need to go into it because I know what you're talking about tonight is a little bit more interesting, so I'll just tell you it was a little situation, and I went and spoke up on it. I met with the now departed Robert Carvel, and then we had a hearing, and the end result was that the denial of me getting into housing was overturned.
So, and I advocate this to people. If there's a public hearing and they're talking about, you know, suspending the executive director, Robert Cavell,
Right.
you know, if you have an issue, there's the board of directors, go. And you did, and you got results. So
Yeah.
you did your civic duty, God bless you, and you got results.
Right.
You know, I file a public records request and a guy resigns off the cable TV commission the day it's due.
I wonder how that happened.
Because government oversight that I went to called him and he said, I'm resigning. And it's like, to resign when you get a public records request speaks volumes to me, and I'm not going to say nothing.
It's
Use a double
volumes
negative.
because these people don't think that you know what you're doing, and they don't think you know what department party.
Oh, Johnny, they know I know what I'm doing.
And all of a
Now they
sudden
do.
they get these calls. I mean, all we have to do is make reference to the board of our overseas and a specific person.
John, I asked you not to go into detail, and
Okay.
sometimes you go off in tangents, but the thing is that you can file a petition, you can petition certain individuals, and you can get results. And if you don't get results, at least people are put on notice that you're not going to sit back and take
Not going to walk
malarkey.
away. Yeah.
Right.
Keep it, you're going to keep it up until you get the answers that you want, and if you don't get the answers, then you go to the next group, the next highest level of office until you finally get the people who can get you the answers.
Now,
That's
John,
right.
I'm sorry?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, John, you saw the, we're not going to go into too much detail.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's a 90-minute special running with Paul Donato on it.
Yes, and I was the first one to see it. I let you know about it, and then I've also our other good friend Tony D'Antonio let you know about it, and you took it and ran with it, and there were certain things going on which we won't discuss. But the thing with TV3,
You did call it a hatchet job.
I called it a hatchet job because basically Frank Polari, I will say, for my own use, that I've known Frank Polari since the early days at Medford High, and I never thought he'd become this petty
Thank you. That's a perfect word for him. Perfect word, petty.
over the station But for him to first go on the air and make the show, not even let the guests now, I'm sure you let Jeannie there know that you were live.
She was here last week, so she knows it's a live show.
Yes,
And you would be taking phone calls. Well, Mr. Poliri doesn't even have the decency to let Representative Donato know that the show is live until I happened to call in, because at the time I called in, they were doing that hatchet job, or Frank was doing the hatchet job on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Donato said my name. He said my nickname, but that's okay. You know, he said Joe Vig, and
then
you know,
Donato says, "Oh, by the way, I'm surprised you didn't let me know that this show was live."
not only that, John, when he called me and I was here at WinCam, I was outside talking to him.
Yes.
I said, "Did you know they put you on live?" He said, "No."
And
So I asked him point blank.
Frank ultimately said, "Oh, by the way, Paul, we are live and we are taking phone calls."
How disrespectful to an elected official to sandbag him. I love that term, sandbag. He sandbagged him. He
The first time TV3's been synonymous with this. I mean, we know. I told you about what's happened with me with a gentleman named Gary Zappelli, and what happened.
And we'll
with me
talk about Gary in depth in a second. But
Yeah.
I want to interject this. Paul Donato I've known for over 40 years, 39, 40 years, when he used to visit our family business, and one of the people working for our company was your father, John Donald.
Remember, yeah, you've told me this.
So Ziggy Bush over at TV3 Medford would come in and
yeah.
purchase things. Rep Donato was a manufacturer's rep. We'd buy from manufacturers. We were on Park Street, 183 Park Street, where my Uncle Benny lived in the 40s and 50s. My dad lived on Park Street. So, I mean, we've got roots in Medford, and just coincidentally, we had this warehouse. And John Donald Byers, Johnny's dad, John must have been 71, John. How old were you? 71, 72.
I was 4 going on 5 years old.
I knew he had a young son, and he was our truck driver, and he was a really nice man. He was very nice and respectful, and your grandmother and your aunt worked with me.
Really?
Right?
So Josephine, I would drive home to Chapman off Central.
Chapman, it sounds like.
Chapman Street off Central Ave. I'd drive her home just about every night. So I was driving John's aunt home every night, and his grandma worked with us. And so we, you know, because my family goes back with the Byers family to the 40s,
Wow.
maybe the 30s, John.
Yep.
Your grandmother and my mom and my grandma and grandpa lived in a duplex in East Boston.
Right.
Wow.
So the Byers family on one side and you know,
wow.
my mom's family on the other.
You guys go way back.
And like I
Well, we didn't know. John and I have only been friends. We've known each other for years, but we've only really been friends. And my father's the one who said, "That's John's son." I said, "No." He goes, "Yes." So my father knew who you were.
right.
And, you know, but your Uncle Al, I was his personal caddy when I was 15.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, over near your house, Cardi Test Boring? Behind Country Buffet.
Oh,
and
yeah, okay.
There's this building, Cardi Test Boring.
Yep,
It's
yep,
still
yep.
there.
His Uncle Al DeSimone.
It's not owned by the DeSimone family anymore.
Oh, well, I was your uncle's personal caddy
Right.
for years. He and my father won the Calcutta, big tournament back in the day.
Right.
They won. My dad was a brilliant golfer, still is a brilliant golfer. But, you know, he was a 3 handicap back then in his
Oh
prime.
yeah. Wow.
You know, but he's still a darn good golfer. It's like George Foreman. You don't want to, you know,
Right.
tangle with someone who really knows how to putt and really knows how to swing. Especially all those years of practice.
Yes.
But your uncle was a good man. We had a lot of fun. I had a lot of dinners with them. And I didn't know you.
Right. And then we
So-
met at City Hall on a couple of occasions, and then it basically took what happened 2 years ago at TV3 then for me to understand you and what they had done to you previously. And the thing that really worked to their disadvantage is when they tried to recruit me to be part of their attack on you that they were supposed to originally do at the station, but they ended up doing a month or so later.
No, they did it a day after, yeah, a month or so later, but a day after you called me. You called me on the 26th of April, 2010, and And I want the Winchester residents to realize this. The TV station conspired to attack me while I'm doing my civic duty at City Hall. Now, Gene, you go up there. Would you want to have people harassing you and blowing kisses at you? Which kind of happened to you 2 weeks ago on TV.
Exactly. Yeah.
Someone
That
was
happened.
blowing kisses at you, and so there's some guys blowing kisses at me, and it's like, you know, I said to him, my late girlfriend said we're into beauty and you don't qualify.
Yeah, and
That didn't sit well with him.
I just want to make a clarification. I've been involved with TV3 since the early days when they were up at Medford High. So I've been involved with them from Medford High up to Canal Street, which they ended up losing, and then the new place down there on High Street. So I've been involved in some way, shape, or form, having either a show on the station or being part of shows on the station.
Yeah, John's a real historian when it comes to Medford Access up at the high school.
Wow.
And I came in at Canal Street when they were in their about their third or fourth year because they only had a 10-year lease. It was a beautiful facility. Beautiful, but the key of what I'm talking about tonight, John, isn't as much, it is a rebuttal to that 90-minute horror show.
Correct.
Of really a president of a TV station being a buffoon, acting in an immature, sophomoric way.
Right, and basically, let's put it out there. He called you.
Now, let's not put it out there. I don't want
certain things that we don't want to talk about, but basically,
he just lied to his
lies, and they're going to end up paying for it in the end, some way, shape, or form.
Well, when the state rep said, "Well, I didn't want to be on Joe's show," he said, "Joe asked me to be on the show to talk about the state budget," and I'm like, "You come up to me at the Elizabeth Warren event and asked to be on my show, and now you're playing ball with the guy that's harassed you." They harassed Paul Donato for years.
Right.
I mean, they called him a name I'm not going to say on TV. So Paul called me one day. "Hi, Joe, it's Paulie, beep, 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 beep pants." So something in the middle, okay? A typical Gary Zappelli word, right in the middle.
Right.
"This is Paulie blank pants." I said, "Paul, that's horrible. Don't even give them any." But he was, he was just kind of
he was laughing it off.
He was shrugging it off, but it hurt him. It hurt him because these people have no respect. And here we are at the city council. It runs fine. When the juveniles show up, it's a fiasco. It's, the MO
right.
of the station is to just disrupt. Not to bring facts, and now I'm going to say something very clear to them. If TV3 Medford would bring the books, the finances, Maltin sometimes publishes a hard copy annual report. So if you show up in January, you can pick up a hard copy annual report, the money that comes in, the money that comes out. It's done better than our city budget, which we have to do a public records request, and maybe we'll get...
In all fairness, the city budget is much larger than the station. But we should have access to a budget annually of our community
It
station.
should be sitting
We don't
in the clerk's office, John, right?
Right.
And in the solicitor's office for the public to come in
That's
and
right.
inspect.
That's right.
But they don't want
Annually.
that because that shows them, and I'll use a word that you like to use, malfeasance.
No, John, I don't want you using that word. And I don't like to use it. The Judge Jackson-Thompson used it.
Right. TV3's malfeasance.
No. She didn't say that, John. And I asked you before you came on the show. So strike that, people. Strike it. I'll say what Judge Jackson-Thompson said now that you brought it up, just so people realize. Judge Jackson-Thompson said in her recommendations to the city officials, John, whether the city can make a substantial case to remove the MCC remains a decision for the city of Medford. And Nell Coakley of the transcript said, she threw the ball back at the mayor. Nell was expecting the judge to bring the hammer down.
Right. But she didn't.
And she should have, because verbally, not in the report, but verbally, the Judge Jackson-Thompson said that she was going to ensure that we had a better TV station for our city. And she didn't. She kind of took the money, wrote the report, and went back to Woburn.
Right.
The reasons set forth above, a preliminary notice of no confidence should be filed with the Board of Directors as a formal notice of deficiencies in their contractual responsibilities.
Right.
Should the board continue to be non-compliant, the city may wish to take additional actions to ultimately terminate the MCC contract. At this time, or any time in the near future, the city may wish to request that the Office of the Attorney General and/or the Secretary of State investigate MCC. Now, on a previous page, John, and this is important, she couched her words. She said, President Polari and former officers in the board have failed to produce and maintain mandatory records, and those that are maintained do not always meet even minimum requirements set forth in Robert's rules.
Which they don't follow.
There's a need to determine if any such behavior runs to the level of malfeasance. She didn't accuse them of malfeasance, but she says there is a need to determine if any such behavior runs to the level of malfeasance. Now, after the mayor paid $3,900 for this report and over $10,000 to Melanson Heath and Company PC, John Byers, where or where did the mayor meet with the public? He didn't meet with the public, did he?
No, he met out of the public's eye in 3 separate meetings, which we like to call down here in Medford as the pizza powwows, because they were held at pizza restaurants.
Pizza joints. And there's a reason he did that.
And the last meeting he had, just to show you, was with Mr. Polari, Mr. Sano, and Mr. Zappelli, and a member of, along with the mayor, and a member of Comcast, and
it was about Project Open Voice, and Daniel Sarno is the station manager who participated in that attack on me of April 27th,
right,
2010, and Gary Zappelli and a Matthew Page Lieberman. They're all in the police report. It's all public record.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking out of school.
And
the police interrogated everyone, and the police wrote down Joe Viglione, victim. I want that on the record. So Johnny advised me. There's an affidavit. And a TV station should not be going out of its way to harass and bother people.
Correct.
But the pizza powwows. Now, this is why they met at Bocelli's and Regina's. Mm-hmm. I was at Regina's last night.
Oh, they have excellent pizza, by the way.
Excellent pizza.
Excellent pizza. People from Winchester, go there. It's delicious.
Jeff bought me a slice. He had a slice. I had a raspberry iced tea. John, the pizza's exquisite.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
The way they cook
crust,
it.
yeah.
Oh,
the undercrust, you asked for it to get it a little overcooked. Oh, it's delicious. It's absolutely.
You know, so they're at Regina's, and so what did I do, John? You know what I did. I put a public records request in.
Oh,
and
yeah.
our dear friend Rumley writes there are no records. So the mayor meets at these people after $14,000-$15,000, and Richard Howard, town manager of Winchester. I know you're good friends with Mayor McGlynn. Tell him, you know, you spend 15 grand, don't go to a pizza parlor. Go to the city council.
I agree. I agree.
It's only fair. We're only asking for fairness. We're not asking for special treatment. You asking for special treatment, John?
No. All I want to do is be on TV and do my sports show, and that leads me to where we go next with TV3. Basically, Mr. Polari tried to bribe me by saying, now, you have a little court case against Mr. Sarno.
Well, Dan Sarno filed, and I'll tell the people, they spent $83,000 of public access monies and insurance money, $13,900 in money from Utica National,
Right.
To sue the city of Medford and to sue the late Pat Fiorello and to harass me with, well, it wasn't a lawsuit against Pat, it was legal action that was just unwarranted and against a senior citizen, just to shut him up.
We go to May 15th of this year at City Hall, and I was talking to Mr. Polari, telling him exactly...
Well, John, I haven't finished.
Sorry.
They took that money, and what we found through the Honorable Judge Singh in Somerville District Court was that TV3 had violated, and Frank Polari personally violated, this is court documents, the anti-SLAPP laws of the Commonwealth, strategic lawsuit against public participation, which means they were caught red-handed using lawsuits to shut people up.
Right.
And you're familiar with people threatening to throw lawsuits to shut people up. Jean's an angel. She's never been in a court of law in her life, you know?
Never.
But she knows of, you know, it's people.
But again, it's not unreasonable to ask the mayor and Channel 3 to file a complete, open process about what funds come in from Comcast and from Verizon. We pay a 5% franchise fee. We pay that fee. And
1.7 million in 2 years.
And we should
just
know.
in 2 years.
We should know where that money is. We should know how it's being spent. It is a private-public arrangement between the city of Medford. The Medford is the funneling unit. Comcast and Verizon pays the city of Medford, which is the authority would be the mayor, and through his office, and then he gives it to the appropriate people at Channel 3. And all we're asking is that is an open and complete process so that we know what the money's going for.
But that will never happen as long as Michael J. McGlynn is mayor, because he likes to keep
Well, you know, we're not going to go deep into that.
Oh, no,
what I'd like to
that.
say is about the bylaws. You know, there are bylaws with a corporation, John.
Oh,
And
I know
Judge
that.
Jackson-Thompson wrote, parliamentary law is the procedural safeguard that protects the individual and the group in the exercise of the rights of free speech. For a board that voices its passion for free speech, to refusal to comply with these rules is shameless.
Correct.
I mean, there's a scathing report against them.
And like I had started to say, Mr. Polari tried to bribe me with getting my sports talk show back on the air if I got off your witness list. Now, I knew
Now-
that wasn't going to happen.
You know, it's wrong of people to do that, and if indeed it happened, I will say alleged. But you know, you're the witness, and you are on a witness list, along with another lovely young lady. And there's just been too many people in Medford that aren't getting a fair shake to be able to go to the TV station without the thought of being pushed around, or you know, my friends. Bill and Carolyn, who've been on at this station twice, they love it over here.
The Rosens, yeah.
Well, not that. Don't. I wasn't saying their last name, John.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, they the TV station accused the woman of using the F word, and they banned her, and she and her husband appealed it and got it overruled.
Correct.
It wasn't until the Don Natalia lawsuit, which I won. So the TV station manager, Don Natalia, who was the general manager at the time, she sued me, and she lost in Superior Court. There was an accusation, and they never knew they were even accused of using the F word until I got discovery in the lawsuit, and I gave it to Carolyn. She was shocked. She was humiliated. They didn't even tell her what they accused her of doing.
Are you kidding me?
She went up to the city council and said, "You've known me for years. Have you ever heard me use that language?"
No, never.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with this one.
People in Winchester have seen her on my show. She's a Green Line advocate. She doesn't run around hurling those epithets. They accused her of that and threw her out. Nonprofits have to be held to a higher standard. You can't just accuse someone of something.
Unless you have evidence.
Unless, you know, yeah, but the evidence, we have the evidence against them. I mean, we have a judge's report that, I'll even say it, Winchester knows very well, Paul Camuso. So Solicitor Rumley and Stephanie Burke wanted to edge this along, and they had their own report that we're going to read to the city council. And Winchester knows the Camuso family. Paul Camuso got 4 votes to shut them down.
Well, he was the 4th vote.
Huh?
He was the 4th vote.
He was, yeah, he got 3, yeah, thank you. He got 3 other votes to shut down a discussion of this before the judge's findings came out.
Right.
And it's like, Paul, these are your constituents, Paul. We have a right to know how 1.7 million in 2 years is used. So, John, anything else you want to say? What are the Red Sox doing?
Well, they're up. They're up right now, 4-3 on the Tigers. But it's been a very welcome. Oh, actually, it's tied 3-3. But it's been a very hard-hitting game. But the good thing is that the Red Sox have gotten more to the Tigers' pitcher than the Tigers have gone to Beckett.
Well, that's good, Johnny. We got to talk to our movie guy. Thank you for calling, and we'll talk again. We're going to do this again.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, John.
So you having fun?
Yes, I am.
I tell Johnny, but Johnny's great, but, you know, he likes to travel into different areas. And when Donato was here, I said, Johnny, don't go there, and Donato appreciated that. But you've not even seen this, Mark.
No, I have not read that.
And
No.
that it cost us $3,900, you know, and a lot of Xeroxing. But there's the contract the city has with TV3 Medford and MCC obligations. I keep referring to this because this is Section 5. And conduct periodic training programs in the skills necessary to produce quality public access programming. One of the classes over there. Outreach. Outreach is a really big, number 8, Section 5, number 8. Provide publicity, fundraising, outreach. Now, Gene, that should have, that's why. Okay, there we go. That's why I had it on the wire. Outreach should have a whole 2 pages. It is one word stuck in one section, in one paragraph of one section. And so TV3 Medford just says, well, outreach, we do outreach. You know, I contend putting 8 hours of Al Jazeera, you know, you can do a little Al Jazeera.
I'm not familiar with the Al Jazeera.
They run Al Jazeera from 11 at night sometimes to 4 in the morning, maybe to 6 in the morning. It provides programming.
Okay.
There's a lot of free programming you can grab from places that they allow public access stations to air it.
Okay.
Nassau, which TV3 used to run Nassau, which I thought was kind of cool, but all it is a spaceship up there showing planet Earth. And so you're getting planet Earth for like 6 hours.
Oh, is that all? Okay.
But it's kind of cool. It's a
Yeah.
NASA feed.
Yeah.
And, you know, but Gene.
Yeah, but 6 hours of it, you know.
Give us 10 of the people that are in the audience of the city council, and we'll have 40 shows running weekly. Have I've yapped. Anything you want to add?
Well, again, I would thank you for the opportunity. I would just like to say that it is not unreasonable to ask the mayor, who is the authorizing
Issuing authority, they
issuing
call 'em.
authority, to require higher behavioral standards as well as financial standards from TV3. We pay that bill. It's our franchise fee. 5% of my Verizon bill and his Comcast bill is
A lot of money.
used. It is broken down. 3% goes into the general fund. 2% is broken down.
0.5% is supposed to go to governmental, 0.5% is supposed to go to educational.
Right.
We know that salaries are being paid with some of that money through Bob Penter and Bill O'Keefe, a former school committee person. And through a
Right.
public
Well, we
records
know
request.
that we know that it's not going towards the government and the educational stations because all they show are the same
Bulletin board.
bulletin boards and, you know, keep it, turn off your candles, you know, put out your candles in the wintertime kind of announcements over and over again.
And Wallace Counts number and all that stuff. But it's cool.
And we have no idea what's going on with the finances at Channel 3. And it should be public information. And it is not a private station, just as this is not a private station. It is a public-private organization. And we have every right to, and it's reasonable, to request that we have an annual budget that is published. And it is the mayor's responsibility, it lays on his desk, to fix this problem. And that's what I would like to say. It's his responsibility.
And I thank you, Gene Martin, for being on the show tonight. Frank Delastrito's our weekly co-host on movies. Hello, Frank.
How's it going, Joe?
Going good, Frank. What's our movie tomorrow night at 9?
Tomorrow night's movie at 9 is Return of the Kung Fu Dragon, a 1976 Taiwanese martial arts movie.
All right.
I'm making kung fu kind of jujitsu things as you said that.
All right, I don't like listening or watching the show while I'm on it because I feel like I sound like an idiot. So you make any things you want. Okay, this has got the
plot of an old Western or closer to one of the Italian Muscle Man movies. You know, an evil emperor comes and takes over a nice place, and
we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
An evil emperor taking over a nice place. Oh,
Yeah, well,
that's an inside joke.
It happens. Okay, it happens in everyday life. I know. And years later, the surviving child of the good emperor, who's long dead, grows up, and with a couple of allies, they fight to take back the country to restore good and worthiness throughout the land.
Yes.
And that's basically the plot. But the hell with the plot. There's a lot of action in this. I mean, there's so much action you might find yourself laughing because people don't need much of an excuse to start fighting each other. And you know, it's Taiwanese. It got the U.S. distribution, and this is pretty much made during the peak of the martial arts films. And this is 1976. Bruce Lee is dead by 3 years now. He's been dead. He died in 1970.
And I'm amazed that we can play movies from the 70s.
Well, I mean, this is a foreign movie. This is a low-budget movie, and after its first release, I don't think anybody was going to do much to protect it. And you know, I don't understand the complexities of what makes a movie tumble into the public domain, but it doesn't take much. If there's any question of ownership, things can easily fall in the public domain. So how it got in there, I don't know. In fact, I'm ashamed to say how little I know about this movie because you can't find out much on it. I watched it. The only performer there of any renown is an actress known as Polly Shang Kwan, who's a black belt, a karate expert, and I'd say that the fight scenes, there's as much fights with the women doing things as the men, and
something Dynasty picked up on years later.
That's right.
Yeah,
and
but I mean, if you watch the kung fu movies, they're often male dominated, but just as often there's a female artist in there really kicking some serious butt. Mm-hmm. But I don't have much more to say about that. Let's talk a bit about Bruce Lee. Died at 32. He only appeared in 7 movies, and one was in a James Garner movie before he became an action star. And only 3 of the movies appeared, I believe, during his life, or he actually made when he was alive. After he died, they pieced together film from him for 3 more.
Yes.
Clips they had of him, unused footage, or maybe sometimes used footage. But there's not a lot of actors in the history of the cinema that can claim to had single-handedly formed a genre. Mm-hmm. And that's certainly, one of Bruce Lee's legacies is that...
The Green Hornet.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was in the Green Hornet TV series. That lasted, I think, a season.
But that's how I knew him.
Yeah, that's when we... Well, I knew him then, but I didn't know it was Bruce Lee until after he became a star, and they said, oh, this guy, by the way... 6 years ago, played Kato in the Green Hornet series. Oh yeah, it's the same guy.
What a coup for them! It made them very collectible.
Yeah,
that's before my time.
And so, how many other actors can you name who you can make a case that they single-handedly established a whole genre? I've come up with 2.
90 seconds left.
I think you can make a case that Sean Connery single-handedly brought the spy movies in. And of course, they were quickly taken out of his hands, but he's the guy that got it started.
Yep.
And that Steve Reeves brought in the Italian Muscle Man movies.
Okay.
And again, but of all those guys made dozens of movies. Bruce Lee made 6, and really only his lifetime he made 3 that count. So that's quite an achievement. So your 90 seconds is up, almost. Next week's movie is Stage Fright. I don't have anything to say about it because there's a couple of stage frights out there, so I'll be checking with you offline as to which one it is.
We will do that, Frank, and we appreciate you calling in every week, man.
Okay.
Thanks.
Keep doing those kung fu moves. The audience loves it.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bruce Lee rocks.
Isn't he great?
Oh, yeah.
Frank Delestrito. He has a few books out. I met him through, he sent me a book, and 2 years now we've been rocking. Mm-hmm. So I call this the Visual Radio Film Library. Gene, it goes by quick, doesn't it? So if you do a show with 3 women.
3 other women, boy, the hour will go by fast.
Yeah, because this is 55 minutes. Mm-hmm. And I do 55 minutes because of Boston, BNN. But it works out for WinCam because we need 5 minutes to clean up so everyone's happy. Mm-hmm. BNN in Boston has a rule of 55 minutes. Mm-hmm. So all my stations that get the show, Stoneham, Burlington.
Oh, and nothing gets cut off.
Yeah, they all know it's 55 minutes. Mm-hmm. I'll go over to Malden tomorrow. and bring a Stephen Davis show right here. Thank you, people, for watching. It's the last day of May. Listen to Blue Oyster Cult and their song, The Last Days of May. It's visual radio on Wingcam. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And 6 seconds, and we're off the air. Thank you very much.